I did a 7-pass card, Christmas card.
Wow.
I didn't know if he told you or showed you.
No, show us.
Okay. Actually,
7 passes. Beautiful.
this is the card.
Wow.
Actually, the back is gold foil. The silver on the back, and the color overprint. Then the foil on the lower part, on the high part.
Yep.
Feliz Navidad. And then the 3 passes of clear for the bubble effect.
3 passes to create the bubble effect.
The bubble.
Wow.
Yeah. So this is made with a 3S.
Yep.
One of your equipment and a Curio Press C6100. So it's a very small equipment, but we actually got 7 passes out of this card.
That's incredible, Gerardo. Wow.
Yeah.
Let me ask you a question. What was the customer's reaction when he saw that?
Well, this was for our Christmas card. So
it's your own Christmas card.
As our own Christmas card. This is our brand here.
Yeah.
It's in 2017 we actually just our first 100 years as a print shop.
Congrats.
Thank you. It always the cards that we make always get us in what can we do to challenge ourselves, and we just got our 3DS in 2019, just before the pandemic. So the pandemic was this period where we adjusted and tested, and there is no other way to use any equipment to the full, and our clients love the card.
Yeah,
and we're very happy with the machine.
That's great. That's great, Gerardo. I really appreciate what you're saying, and I think Adam, you also had some similar stories throughout COVID. I know that you guys went on a kind of a mad scientist type of spree and tried a lot of different things. Did you also start experimenting with some of the multi-pass features, meaning foil on top of foils or varnish textures on top of foils?
Oh yeah, we've haven't done the foil on foil yet, but I did. I had an 8-pass job, 3 different colors of foil and some varnishes. And so yeah, it was interesting, and that's where I learned a lot too, with the multiple passes there.
Yeah. So a couple of things that I've always found is really gives you a wow effect. A lot of people don't think to try the foil on top of foil, meaning let's say you put down like a 40 micron silver and then putting another 30 or 40 micron holographic texture pattern on top. And that's really something that I encourage you guys to try when you have 2 minutes, is the different effects that you can get by playing with the differentiating patterns that exist on top of foil. So the first thing we have to know, in my experience, and you guys probably play too, is that foil itself creates a very good tension level for the varnish to sit on. Meaning that when you put varnish on top of the foil, I've always found the edges to be very, very crisp. It kind of pulls the varnish in so that it kind of gives you more height, more detail, and allows us to do really intricate type of things. So I think one of the first things that we tried doing is honeycomb textures of just varnish on top of metallic textures. So that was some of the first stuff that we started doing. Circular patterns, depending on the pattern, sometimes looks like a concave, sometimes will give you kind of a concave look. So playing with varnish on top of foil is one thing, but being able to mix foils on top of each other, I will think that you will find that you'll have higher levels of details. Now, that being said, if you haven't tried that, one of the coolest possible things that you can do, in my opinion, is a combination of silver foil with holographic silver foil on top. So, is that Carla? Carla, do you mind if I put you on mute? Oh, there you go. Is that what you did? Tell me about that,
Yeah,
Gerardo.
this was our first Christmas card when we got
Okay.
the machine on 2019, and we did a mate gold,
Yeah,
and then a holographic foil
on top of it.
on top of it.
Wow. Okay, so a lot of I love how that looks. That looks fantastic, and you see the detail of your second pass inside of your first pass, right? Wow,
Yes.
Look at that.
We did.
You have a beveled edge. That's
actually,
beautiful.
thank you. We did a smaller version, and this is our first experimental.
Okay.
And the rest of
With
it.
the, I like.
And
So the come against
the
it.
holographic element.
Wow.
Yes.
Very cool.
And
So
this is our second year card. Let me show you. I didn't have the time, but this is it.
oh, beautiful.
The most
Beautiful. Look at that.
with a lot more of varnish on the drawing and the holographic on the top.
Wow. Look at that. That's beautiful. So yeah, I highly encourage you, and I don't know if you guys can see this, but this is, for example, silver on top of gold, and that's actually the size of my thumb, so it's very, very intricate. You could do. It's not really looking like you can see the details. I think the best would be for me to show you guys, but this is also another effect that you can do by playing with it. So one of the key things too that you might have a chance to do is if you do have a holographic silver, like Gerardo was saying, try this the next time. We can actually simulate variable data holograms. So if you take out your credit card and you look on the back of it, like you see the Visa logo, the Visa card has like an eagle on it that looks like it's in a hologram effect. You can recreate the same type of effect that I've found by putting down a silver base. So just do like a silver circle and then put it back through a second time. And instead of putting silver foil, put a silver holographic foil on top of a silver foil. And that is going to be your image. So Adam, imagine you get a picture of your face. You put that as your second pass as a hologram picture on top of the silver foil. And you will have almost a variable picture of your face that looks like a hologram. It also works when you do gold with holographic gold as well. So if you do gold with holographic silver, it doesn't work. It has to be the same base color. So gold with holographic gold or silver with a holographic silver. That on top of one another will give you these effects that are very similar to what you get on the back of a Visa card. So I think that's one of the fun things that you can try to play with. But I don't know if you've done that yet.
No, I haven't done that.
No.
Where you can get holographic gold foil, we don't have. I don't have any.
The holographic gold
provider for that.
Carla, do you remember? I think we used to source our holographic gold from Crown at the time. The holographic gold for me.
Crown sells us the silver holographic, but gold, I don't know who sells gold.
Yeah, I haven't seen it. I have silver, but that's, from my understanding, is the only thing that's out there.
Here's the holographic gold. See, I feel like I need to share my screen on my phone with you guys, but actually, probably can I do that? Can I share my screen? I can't. Okay, so I'm going to email myself a couple of these pictures to give you guys the idea of what the foil and foil can look like.
I'm going to grab one of mine too. I'll be right back.
Yep. And then so is it a boy or a girl?
It's a girl.
All right.
It's a girl.
That's great.
Yeah. Thank you.
Oh man, that's beautiful. Is it her first? Is it the first baby? Is it the first?
For my sister, yes, it's her first.
Very cool.
Actually, the last time I couldn't get in the this meeting because I tested my first time from COVID. So
Oh, really?
COVID. Yeah.
Wow, you made it through 3 years.
3 years, and the day that I was about to connect, I didn't check the change in the emails.
Yeah.
So I did connect, but I tested positive an hour later. So I said no, I'm not
Wow.
liable for this.
Well,
So
you look like you're doing much better, so I'm glad that you recovered.
It was about like a month ago. I took about 50,000 units of D3 K2 vitamin D3, and it went very good.
That helped, huh?
I didn't have any problems.
Oh, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. Matt, how are you, sir?
Oh my gosh, I am so frustrated.
Yeah?
Technology is not on my side today.
Oh, we have days like that, my friend. I
keep
know.
Getting dumped off the network. My email isn't working, even though it says it's connected. I can't send a link to myself. And it's like, I could get all of your invitations on my phone, but my phone didn't want to stay connected to the network either. It kept dumping me off. So,
well, that happens, right?
Hey,
as operators, we know how to get around when things don't go our way, right? I think that's something.
You just keep trying, and it's like, well, if I do this, if I do that, if I try this, if I try that. I've been doing that since I got back here partially yesterday.
Right.
Because they had backlogged a bunch of orders that they were unable to get out.
Wow.
So I had to come in and try and get some work moving. But it's all caught up now. We're all good.
Awesome. Well, listen, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, guys. I'm glad you're feeling better. I'm glad Gerardo is feeling better. This is the gold I was telling you about. Is that coming through?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is a gold foil that is holographic. So what looks great is when you put this on top of both a shiny or especially a matte type of gold, the contrasting between the two golds are really interesting. Now you can also kind of simulate the same effect, but not to the same level. Obviously, you're not going to be able to refract the light by putting just varnish on top of especially a matte gold. So that varnish can give you kind of that glossy look and feel, something that's similar. So these are different textures that we were playing with that we can play by putting varnish on top of, in this example, a red foil. Or this is varnish. I think this was 100 micron varnish on top of 100 micron foil, where we're putting down. And I'm sure that all you operators out there are kind of recognizing what this is one of those patterns, I believe, that comes with the spot varnish editor. But looks pretty cool on top of holographics.
Yeah.
Now, this is a client who was actually printing silver and then running it back through their printing press. Has anybody tried this yet?
Yeah.
You've done this before?
Yeah, on the Christmas card, on the one that I showed you, the last one with the globe.
Yeah.
Let me see.
That's awesome.
Okay.
So it gives your ink kind of that metallic neo look and feel. It also gives you that raised feel. But as you can see, very difficult to register accurately on the printing pass.
The problem with this one is that I didn't use transparency on the print.
Yeah.
So it's a full, but the machine press actually made a very tight registration.
Yeah.
For the silver, so it doesn't show.
Yeah, you have to design. You have to design around it to make sure that works.
Yeah. Actually, made a mask of silver and printed over.
Yep. Yeah, you can see here the misregistration on the print, the foil.
It's going to be hit and miss sometimes. It depends on your machine too. We've had pretty good success on the iridescent. It registers pretty well.
Yeah.
You generally, what you want to do is leave a little bit of a margin, and
Yeah.
maybe try not to go so far to the edge. Maybe you leave like a 1/16 of an inch all the way around, and that way when it shifts a little bit, it won't look so strange.
Because the problem is what is the sheet as it's going in, you get the varnish, which can help kind of distort the paper if it's not thick enough. Then you hit it with the foil, which is heat. The heat's gonna kind of contract all those paper fibers, and then you're gonna put it through your press, which is also hot inside. So there's a lot of stretching the paper just from a thermo shock standpoint. That, as Matt said, it's usually best practice when you're trying to do this to really design a nice little. You have to design around the limitations, obviously, of trying to re-register your print to existing foil. But this was a good example that we did where we were putting down some of the silver foil on top of gold. This is what I was talking about when it comes to the details. That was a picture of my thumb, or an actual thumbprint that we did, and you're going to see you get really incredible level of dine level, meaning the sharpness of these small little tiny edges are great because the foil itself is probably one of the best surfaces other than toner or laminates to be able to foil on top of. Yeah. And then obviously there's this is a cool effect too. So whether you're putting down silver dots or you're putting down silver first and then gold second as the in-between, or the other way around, you put gold first and then silver dots on top, it will actually give you a different look and feel when you're staring at it. Some of them will look concave, so that it looks like the dots are coming out, or it looks like the dots are coming in. So lots of really, really cool stuff that we've been playing with. All right. Adam, you went off and you got some cool samples for us. Is there anything you wanted to show us?
I don't know if this is one that we kind of did, and
Oh, nice.
so what we did was everything that's red is actually red foil on just a raw white sheet of paper.
No kidding.
So we
Not
red
just a
foil,
massive hit of red on the back?
yeah.
Whoa.
And then over top of the red foil, we put soft touch laminate. And then on top of the soft touch, we put the gold foil. And then we did the varnish, which helps that red foil under there pop.
Wow. So there's a word for that. So you created basically your own. I think the word that they use is evaporation paper. So let me get this straight. You had a white sheet of paper.
Right.
You did 100% red shiny foil.
Yep.
You took those sheets, you ran them through your laminator and soft touch on top of the red foil. Then you took those sheets, ran them through, hit it with gold foil, and then took it through again and accented with just varnish, and wherever the varnish hit, it gives you that look.
Yep.
Dude, that's awesome. That's awesome. I didn't know you could do that. I've been around this for a long time. I had no idea that was possible.
We've done that also, but instead of the laminate film, we used a soft touch aqueous.
Yeah, an aqueous coat. An aqueous coat could do the same thing. Holy crap. What was the reaction?
So if you think about it, no matter what foil color you have, you can throw soft touch laminate on top of it and make it a matte color.
Yeah, we had that problem with a customer who wanted it on a Christmas card motif, but they wanted the problem is that when you do fine type or fine lines in the raised foil, it's hard to read, especially if it's text, because you have to catch it, you have to keep turning the angle and catching it in the light, because the way it's curved, it makes it very difficult for the eye to follow. So in order to get overcome that issue, we just soft touch aqueous on top of it, and it gave it that beautiful matte finish, and then you could read it very easily.
Yeah.
So, quick question for you: did the laminate pull off, or did you have any adhesion issues from the
No.
laminate? No, the foil was able to good enough base to stick,
we,
huh?
Yeah, we die cut it, and even the hot dog punch, and we didn't have any issues. And this is actually a duplex board.
And there's not one bit of print on that, actually.
No.
Everything is embellished. Dude, you need to submit that to like the Gold Leaf Awards, man. Wow.
Yeah, it's so we also have been doing it, which
Yeah.
I tried to find it, but we've been doing it with the silver hollows and the clear hollows, which like Matt said, the clear hollow, we tried one and you couldn't see what it really looked like. But yeah, it's another way to make something look different than normal, you know?
No, for sure. And Matt, can you confirm that the look was just as good when you did an aqueous coat of soft touch?
I thought it was good, and the reason we didn't do a laminate is because we were afraid it would peel once it was cut on the edge.
That's what I was thinking.
It wasn't it was just like an 80-pound cover stock.
Yeah.
And then I mean, it wasn't that dense of a paper, so we were just like trying to play it safe. So we went with the aqueous. We sent it to a trade printer and just had them, run it on their press with the aqueous station, and it worked pretty well.
Oh, very
Yeah.
cool. Gerardo.
I feel the aqueous coatings work pretty just as good as the actual laminates. They're pretty good.
You do need to be careful with the soft touch because it will rub off with too much, friction.
Yeah.
The gloss is not an issue. It works just fine.
Sure. Gerardo, how about you? Have you ever tried putting some kind of soft touch on top of the foil?
Actually, we used some laminated papers from Ferrigoni, others from
Talis had some like that.
Cordinons, some linen, and we don't have the use for coating, so we just use the paper as it is.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I thought it came out beautiful. Really well done. Really well done.
Sorry.
No, hey, you just had a new baby. It's fine. Very cool. Ward.
That's my daughter.
Is that your
attention? So yeah. So,
very cool. Very cool.
I'm gonna move. Yeah.
Okay, no worries. All right. And hello, Warren. Welcome to the JETforce Operator Club. We've been having a fantastic discussion of foil on top of foil type applications, and I have learned a lot today. And I've been around this for quite a bit. So, Adam, thank you for teaching me a thing or two there on what to do with laminate on top of foil, which I would have never thought is a thing, but it's a thing. Matt, listen, as our host, what other things do you feel that everybody needs to be aware of or think about when we're doing multiple passes of jobs?
Obviously, you have to be careful of thickness. Every time you pass it through the machine, you add a little bit of thickness to everything.
Right.
So you need to calculate and make sure that you're not beyond the specifications of what the machine will allow you to run under the head plate. That's a big issue. We have pushed the limit on that here, and where we'll take an 18 point and then laminate it and then run it through 3 or 4 times, and then they want like a whole slathering of varnish and layers of foil and everything. And then by then you're pretty much going to be scraping the bottom of everything. So you have to make sure your vacuum levels are high. You have to talk production down. You say, no, not 18 point, let's go 16 point, or let's go, 14 point, 10 point, because by the time, if you put a heavy laminate on it, it really creates a more dense paper anyway.
Right.
You really need to measure that because different laminates have different thickness. And just because it says it's that certain mill thickness, doesn't it's all gonna add up to go to. So I always recommend that if you think you want 16 point, do 12 or something like that. Just back off a notch and it'll still be fine.
Interesting.
The other thing that I know it's really fundamentally basic, and it's something that I've toyed with, because one of my cardinal rules is that, well, you obviously run foil first. You always run your foil first, and then you run your varnish. The only way around that is if they're in two completely different parts of the paper,
right?
And none of the two will touch, and you can bring the roller up and down and not touch the part where you've previously varnished. But I've backed myself in a corner on that when I was a newbie, and learned very quickly that no, there's a very specific order that you do things. The other thing that I learned, but it does have exceptions, is what color of foil you run first.
What do you mean?
I usually go, and if anybody disagrees with me, I want to hear your methodology, because I think sometimes it has to do with the color or tone of the paper that you're laying the foil on top of. But I always, as a general rule, start with the darkest foil first and then run the lightest or lighter. Like if I'm doing a dark blue, I'll run the dark blue first, and then on the next pass, I'll run the silver, and then I'll run the varnish. And it seems to work a little bit better for me that way, because if in fact there is, and if this is assuming it's a lighter color base, a lighter background, because if there's a certain area where the blue didn't quite stick to the varnish like it should, then it may pick up the silver there on that second pass.
Interesting.
Yeah. So then you've got a slight silver edge in random little places because you didn't have 100% adhesion on the blue pass. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I've been there.
Yeah. And it could work the other way around too. If you have like a really dark background and you're running the blue and the silver, then you might want to run the silver first and the blue next.
Yep.
Because then that little blue artifact on the edge that adhered where the silver didn't will blend better with that dark background.
Yeah, I never thought about colors, but what I always did was, say I have 3 foil colors, I always started with the layer that had the least amount of coverage first. That way my next 2 foils don't have as much to possibly stick to my second and third pass. So I go from 20% coverage, and I'll do my 40%, and then I'll do my 70.
And sometimes it depends on where the foil is.
Yeah.
And how it creates a hump in the sheet when you go to feed it again, and then you've got maybe the leading edge is flat, and then it works its way back into a big hump because you've got all this foil near the tail end of the sheet, and then that could create a feed problem as well. So those little things you have to take in consideration is kind of like, oh my gosh, is this going to cause a problem on the next run or not?
Yeah.
Interesting. These are really good points, guys. I think a lot of these points are not necessarily, I mean, this takes years to understand these things, right?
It becomes innate.
It does. But again, these are not things that people teach you during installation. These are not things that, this is thing that just comes with experience. And I think that's the whole key of what we're trying to do here is that, look, we have 3 operators on the call here who have 3 different sets of experiences. Look, I learned a bunch of different things from everybody here. That's the whole key. That's why we're doing this, is because, I could tell you from experience. I've been in parts of the world where I walked in and I saw JETvarnish running, and I saw an operator doing crazy things. Like, what are you doing? And they explained it to me. I go, oh my goodness, why doesn't everybody look at this, or why doesn't everybody do this? And the reason is because as operators, you guys are all out there. In a way, you're scientists, and you're all experimenting, and hopefully through the JETforce, we can share and augment everybody's skill levels. And we know that next time I have the option to do a soft touch laminate on top of a foil, and then hit it with varnish to make it give it that gel coat look. Or who knows, next time I run 3 foils, I run the smallest percentage coverage first, or I run the dark blue instead of the light blue. These are very important parts of, I think, what it is that we're trying to do as an organization at the JETforce. And I wanted to thank you guys all for joining us. Listen, do you guys have any recommendations for next month's meetup? Like, what topic do you guys think would be fun for us to talk about as operators? Something that either you want to figure out how to do, or something that you figured out and you want to talk about how you did it? Is there anything that's out there that you guys think is would be an interesting topic for us to approach? Oh, Warren.
Well, why don't you just maybe talk about the basics for people that are just getting the equipment, that don't know, and could follow a little closer. I mean, I'm listening and I have some ideas, but like, you lost me after a layer.
Yeah.
But for the people that are going to be joining our user group,
Yeah.
we're hoping to get just not bald guys with experience.
Nice. How about you guys? Anybody else? Anything technical that you think would be cool for us to approach?
I can't think of anything right now, but I'll keep some notes across too.
Gerardo's got an idea.
Well, I mean, the elephant in the room is always uncoated papers.
Okay.
How to isolate the base of the coated paper. 1, 2, the roll bar of the iFoil unit.
Yeah.
Crashes on certain papers. It doesn't. Tips for setting up that. The best practices for the use of that roller.
Yeah.
And also, which foils work best. I mean, everyone has their favorites. I've been working with Infinity, with Crown. Kurs told me that they're gonna have some foils next.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't tried them. So if you have any experience with new foils, and that's pretty much it.
Yep, I think that's a great idea. We should definitely all share what we've figured out is working, whether it's papers, whether it's foils, whether it's laminates too. So I know some laminates are working really well, some are not working so well. And of course, there's the word of consistency. How consistent are these? Whether they're foils, roll to roll. You get 5 in a box. All 5 of them are going to act a little bit different, which is absolutely mind bending sometimes.
From the same batch.
From the same batch.
Yeah.
It's crazy. So, okay, these are great topics for us to be able to jump into next time. And Gerardo, I'm going to send you a link. You can kind of see we had a little bit of a conversation on uncodeds last time with Matt and Adam. So you can look at that video, watch that video, and then we can always revisit it too, because as more and more people start joining this group, I think we're going to get more and more people's a point of view and experiences that we can all kind of collectively
Kevin,
use.
I think that's just going to be a topic that keeps coming up over and over and over and over and over.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Particularly with the paper shortage.
Yes.
We have to look at every single paper that's available, not the one we want.
Oh, that's so true.
Mm-hmm.
How do you work around the paper shortage? Are you guys still running into that in Mexico now?
Yeah. I actually buy my paper in Texas. We are 2 hours from the border, so we bring everything that we need. But the paper comes from Italy with this Cordonons brand or Ferrigoni brand.
Yeah.
But the local papers that we use, we don't have coated papers. Everyone is amassing and hoarding paper.
Right.
So it's a problem for everyone at the whole industry.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Adam, Adam, why don't you give Gerardo 2 quick tips that we went over last time on how he can coat, uncoat. Let's see if you remember. Do you remember how to do this?
Yeah, you got to do your first pass. I did it, low
with varnish.
Yeah, with varnish.
Okay.
Just do a pass at 50 microns, and then do a second pass at the same or higher. And
actually, we used a clear toner from Data. Then we have a small machine that we use in emergencies. Some white toner too, but in some papers it works, and in the cheaper ones it doesn't.
Right.
So if the fiber is too open, the toner will crack up and it doesn't look good. So we have to close up very, very like laminated papers, but not everyone, not everything works.
So if you're going to start doing that, we recommend, like, if you're going to do a color, let's say you're doing a foil, always do a 4-color. Let's say you're going to do black as your base layer to mask. Use a 4-color black, a rich color black. The more toner you could pack onto the surface of the sheet, the more you can get away with in terms of how much you can put down with varnish without getting absorbed into the paper.
We actually used our machine for almost 90% of our printing is variable data. Like numbers, years, like security features on paper.
Yeah.
But the use of black toner or colors is not available, so we have to clear a little bit.
The clear works well. Yeah, we know a lot of people who have a clear on the iridesce that are doing a really good job with that. Yeah. Matt, did you have a sample that you wanted to show?
I tried to find one. I didn't have one with the foil. I have one without the foil.
Okay. I think Matt's right. We're going to keep coming back to this.
It's a very porous laid. So you can see the texture of the laid.
Yeah.
And so you lay down this 100% black or even a rich black. And then on the subsequent passes on this, I put foil on top of it. And it was beautiful. It's absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah.
Only where toner was.
That's ground black foil, right?
Mm-hmm.
No, that was CMYK black with varnish on top.
Okay.
Was that black foil or was that CMYK black?
This was this exact example was 100% black, no CMY.
Okay.
And that was on the iGen, which has the fuser oil.
Yes.
So that's one reason that works so well. Now with iridesce, it's still a little waxy. So it should. I haven't tested it, but it should work fairly well. But I'm suspecting you might need a rich black.
It's funny, Matt. What Matt says too is the more fuser oil, the better. Which is unfortunate because a lot of the new presses are going away from the fuser oil. But if you're lucky enough to have like an old press laying around that uses a lot of that fuser oil, it's fantastic to create that base layer.
I think
you have a greater latitude as well when it comes to varnish and foil.
Yeah, Gerardo, you're saying something?
Yeah, I think Canon is bringing back oil-based presses.
Okay,
I
noted.
I haven't seen any samples, but it's going to be interesting this application.
Oh, for sure. All right. Well, gentlemen, I wanted to thank you so much for such a great conversation. I can't wait for the next one. And if you guys have any questions, just go into the forums or go into the groups and the JETforce groups. Ask a question. One of us will jump on it and we'll start a conversation on how we can help solve whatever particular issues you guys are running into. So.
And additionally, I do the Matt's Minute videos and I post them on the JETforce.com. So I always, at the end of my videos, say, submit your questions to, Redbear at the redbearproject.com.
Right.
So that's somewhere else that you could also submit those questions. And, if you want to see it turn into a video, then we can make it happen and get the word out that way.
Right.
Awesome.
Perfect.
All right, guys. Have a wonderful day. Thanks for stopping by and see you next month.
You too. Thank you.